What's up, everybody? Prof Sales coming at you with a video. It is Thursday, November 10th, 2016. And how are you doing? Hope you're doing great. I know I am. Karin is here in the background. We got all my little vulture friends here that are ready to scavenge the meat off the bones. I don't know what the term I'm looking for there is. Let me get that down. Let me pop out the chat here. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Just because somebody always asks me that, or somebody asked me this, it's 3:30 here and 12:30 Pacific time. I've got to give a time update apparently, which is cool. Yeah, so hopefully you guys are doing great. We will let the room fill up a little bit. I know it's a little bit later today, but I actually had a meeting at 2 o'clock. So I could not be on at 2 o'clock today. I actually just got back in from that meeting about 10 minutes ago, so it was a little tricky on the time. But anyway, so we got a few topics today for the show. Obviously, we will get to some questions and answers if we can, and as well as just you know, see how everybody's doing. You know what we do here on this show, and if you don't, well, after this, then you'll know. All right, so first up, so Karin and I have been talking a lot. There she is. She's working. This is always the way it is, right? I'm doing something and I'm just goofing off and you're working. So we found an app for broadcasting the 100 listing challenge.
Extravaganza.
So we found this app. It's called Wirecast. Actually, I think Casey, the Rockstar Flipper, turned me on to it, and I think it's going to work. It allows you to have a couple different screens open as well as like your main video feed. But we should be able to set it up. We're going to play around with it. If some of you guys saw me come on last night for about 30 seconds, that's what it was. We were messing with it. We were trying it out. We didn't actually do a show or anything. So basically, it's going to allow us to set it up, broadcast. You should be able to hear me okay. I don't know. I'm gonna attach my microphone. I've got a little mic, a little shotgun mic that looks like this. And that attaches into the port on the iPhone. And I'm going to see how the sound sounds when we do it. We'll probably do a test with it. Karin wanted to show us going to the post office. Yeah, but I'm afraid we'll lose the stream if we do that. We might have to try that out before we tackle that, because if we all of a sudden lose the stream, and you know, it's going to look crappy. But I think what we're going to do is we're just going to leave it open and running, guys. And you guys can pop in and out. You can talk. We can chat a little bit. I mean, obviously I got to work, so I can't go crazy on the chat. But that's what we're going to do. And I think this app will allow us to do it. We went ahead and purchased it just because it was only like $6. And it's got a few other features when you purchase. No big deal. We'll use it for other things too. I can see some other possible usage for it. But we're going to do it, guys. So tomorrow we're going to source. I don't know that we'll get 100 tomorrow, but we may have to extend that out over the weekend. And we're going to try to set this up. Are we still going to shoot for Wednesday?
Yes. We're
going to try to, right now, the tentative date for the 100 listing in a day challenge is Wednesday. That would be Wednesday the 16th.
Dun, 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 dun.
Trumpets.
Always trumpets.
So look for that, guys. Wednesday the 16th is when we're going to do it. We obviously have to get enough stock. Right now, we don't even have 100 jeans to list. So we wouldn't even be able to do it right now if we wanted to. And we're going to take someone asked if we're going to rest up for the challenge. We're going to do some things to get ready for it, obviously, guys. And, you know, you could make the case you would do that for any size challenge or any amount of listing you want to do. Like if you want to do 20 listings tomorrow, you could say, all right, let's set that up. But we got to go source a little bit over the next 3 days, get a good chunk. We're going to hit our local stores And we should be able to pull, I don't know, what do you think, 150 pair maybe?
Yep.
We should be able to pull 150 out of it. We'll list 50 or so just to, you know, keep our over a couple days, and then we'll save 100. What we're gonna do probably, we got to set up the camera shots, but that big black fixture you can see behind me, we're gonna try to set up the camera. I'm gonna move some of this stuff off my desk. We're gonna try to set up so you can see our progress and how many we've done and what we still have to go. And I don't know. Good Lord, you're loud over there. The best we can do so you guys can kind of see everything. I'm thinking about setting the camera up. It'll be right here to my right, your left. And then it'll just kind of shoot out like, or actually right here probably. It'll just shoot out kind of over me and Karin. You know, I don't know how that shot's going to look. We might try to set that up later today and just kind of see what it'll look like, guys. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be it'll be a fun challenge. I don't know how we'll, I don't know how it's going to go, but we've never done that many in a day before. I think the most I've done in a day is like 42. So it's a pretty big step up from that, you know, over double, but I know that we can do it. I know it's just a matter of putting in the time. It's just going to, will our energy, will we be drained to the point we won't want to do it?
Will we still be talking to each other when it's over?
Will we be friends? Will we be a couple? That's so anyway, that's what we're going to do. Somebody said, yeah, but your PayPal account would be crazy. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Oh, that's king. Yeah, so that's how we're planning to do it, guys. Wednesday, right now, tentatively the date is Wednesday, the 16th. I'm not sure how to set this up for everybody. So somebody says their money's on you, by the way. Stone Mason says his money's on you. Yeah.
Stone's my favorite.
She's great. But if I have to enlist her to list too, nah, we won't do it that way, will we? We'll probably just be me.
Well, you know, we'll see. It's a work in progress. It's an experiment for sure.
Right. It's an experiment for sure to see how we're going to do it. You know, 100 listings, guys. I don't know. I mean, I'm sitting here saying to myself, I know I can do it. I know Karin can do it. But that's easy to say until you've done it. With anything in life, right? It's like, I know I can do that. Okay. But until you've done it, you don't really know that you can do it. You're just really sure, you know, or pretty sure, but 100%, who knows?
Well, and we brainstorm some things that we're going to do to break up. Oh, here's my face. We brainstorm some things that we're going to do along the way to sort of break up the monotony. Yeah. And there's some people that are also going to do it along with us. So be sure and send Jason an email or put a note in the chat. So we'll be on the lookout and we can commiserate throughout the day. But we also wanted to ask if there were topics. We're going to have little conversations to break it up ourselves, some silly, some relevant to sourcing, etc., and listing. But if you have some ideas, by all means, let us know. We brainstormed a sort of what the day would look like outline,
right.
But we'd love to hear what you guys have to say about it too, because when it comes down to it, we live the drama every day. But you're going to have to stick through it and suffer through it with us that day. So anything that we can do to make it a little easier on you, by all means, let us know. Right.
That's a great point. So yeah, any tips you have or comments you want to leave them down below after the video post. That'd be great. Someone said, are you going to prep a day before like pictures? Brad asked that. Yeah, Brad, we actually are planning, and this just full disclosure, we're planning to prep 50 jeans the day before, and Karin is going to take 50 during the day. She has done 50 plus in a day before, so we know she can do that. It's just I've never actually listed 100 in a day. So I think it's going to take me somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 hours, but I don't know. I'm curious to see how my energy levels will be. Maybe a couple monsters.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Michael Stone actually brought up a good point about seeing what we do with it afterwards, and that's something that you are going to do. You're going to walk everybody right upstairs with the camera, right? and show how it's all stacked. I mean, you talked about doing that anyway.
Yeah, Michael said he's curious about how we'll store it to find it. That's what we're going to use that fixture for, Michael, back over my shoulder, is that that fixture actually can hold 240 pair of jeans, believe it or not. It actually can hold quite a few, but the way we stack them, it doesn't quite hold that as many, but it won't need to hold. I mean, it'll easily hold 100. But we're just going to pull from that, and we'll kind of give you guys some updates to that. We'll move the camera and show you that once we get this all kind of set up. How many hours we'd be listening from when to when? Sorry, I missed the intro. Zerk, you didn't miss that part. We don't know how many hours it'll be till at least till we get to 100. That's the goal. Did we decide on a start time?
We didn't. We blocked it off into, we said at least 8 to 4.
Yeah. We're thinking probably like 8 to 5, guys. We'll need a little time in there for, bathroom breaks and to eat some food. And we usually catch an episode of The Office while we watch lunch or eat lunch. And so we might still do that. I don't know. Maybe we'll eat right here. Who knows?
We'll take everybody to lunch with us virtually.
But right now the plan is 8 o'clock Eastern time. Sorry for you Pacific Coast guys. That's 5 a.m. It's early. I know. I'm sorry. I can't start it, but it's so late. Somebody brought up a good point here. Said if you do everything in stages, I bet it will go quickly. That's a great point. Like breaking it out, Karn's actually going to take the photos in groups of 10 and drop them to me. So that's a great point because it kind of gives you a sense of completion. Like when you look at saying, I got to do 100 and you do 1, you're like, oh, I'm only 100th of the way through. But when you've got a group of 10 and you've only got to do 1 and you do 1, you're 10% through with that group. So mentally, it's a little easier to wrap your head around, I think, sometimes. But anyway, 1 behind you, monster. Let's see. Yard time does 20 a night. That's awesome, yard time. If you're doing 20 a night, that's really good, especially for part-time. Really good. Let's see. No bathroom breaks. Okay, the problem is, Barry, if I drink a Monster or 2, I'm going to need a bathroom break. That stuff goes through me. I love it.
2 words. Adult diapers.
I can't believe she just suggested I wear a diaper.
Don't knock it till you try it.
Or just a big mason jar, right? I could be, it's off camera, whatever.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure YouTube would have an issue with that. I know I would have an issue. Just try to keep the on-camera bloodshed to a minimum. We will. It's a PG show. PG at worst. Let's see. When are you doing this? Midwest says. Okay, so I'm going to put this in. I guess I'm going to put this in the comments. It's the goal right now. Midwest is to do it next Wednesday, the 16th. Wednesday the 16th, roughly starting at 8 a.m. Eastern. I'll put up a live stream. Well, I don't know that I can do that with that app, can I?
No.
I'll try to post that, guys. Like I'll post in the Reseller Society. I could put up that I'm going to do a video, a hangout that day, but this app I don't think really can use that. It does its own thing. So I'd have to put it up and then just say, and then just take that down, which would be kind of confusing for people. So I think we're just going to have to talk about it. And you guys will have to come see that it's up. I mean, I don't think you'll have any problem seeing eventually that I'm live. Do you keep the photos after you list or do you delete them right away? We delete them, Daniel.
Not enough room.
Not enough room, man. I mean, you're talking thousands and thousands of photos if you're doing a lot of listings, and it just gets crazy. You're going to do it under multi-listing? Nope. Individual listings. Let's see. Come on, Henry. That's a little over the line there, buddy. So let's see. Off topic. I'm scared to start selling eBay. How many jeans would you recommend I start with? By the way, I love your shows. 1. Start with 1, Oscar. Sell other things too. Why are you scared? There's no reason to be scared of an e-commerce platform. It's just a platform to sell on. There's no reason to be scared of it. So just jump in and do it. Anyway, this is going to be like a reseller Big Brother. Yeah, who's going to get voted out of the house first? Anyway, so that's the goal right now, to start Wednesday, November 16th. Yes. And roughly starting at 8 a.m. Eastern. I'll give you guys more updates if things change with that, but we're going to plan our sourcing over the next 3 days to achieve that goal, to have at least 100 out. And we'll just do it. And just hopefully not kill each other. All right, so what else we got going on? Oh, one issue came up today in the resource site I want to share with you. Someone shared a post saying that on eBay, here's a return tip for you guys. So let's say someone opens up a return on one of your items and you approve it, or maybe you have it set to auto approve or whatever your settings are, but they open up a return. If they do not ship the item within 5 business days, eBay will allow you to close the return. However, I would be really cautious about doing that, because the problem, guys, is let's say you have 30-day returns and someone opens up a return and they don't ship it in 5 business days and you close the return. What's going to be their feedback to you in eBay about their experience with you? I mean, technically you would give them 30 days, because here's the thing. If someone opens up a return and doesn't return it within the window that you have set up for returns on eBay, like let's say it's 30-day returns that you offer, at some point after 30 days, eventually eBay will close out the return automatically. I've had that happen many times, guys, and that's one of the beauties. That's one of the beauties of their. That's one of the beauties of their return system. The 30-day returns. If you offer 30-day returns, people will forget that they're going to return it. Yeah, they'll get it and they'll say, I don't like this. It wasn't what I thought. It doesn't fit, whatever. And then all of a sudden, they forget to ship it. And then it comes up, and then sometimes eBay will message you and say, hey, did this person return this? And, you just don't say anything. And eventually the return closes out. And sometimes someone will still come back to you after that and ask if they can return it. And for the most part, I will just say yes, because I don't know, guys. I mean, people get busy. It's like, you can't be too much of the return police here. But I would be real cautious about closing returns before your window. So I saw that post, and it's good information, but it's kind of like you're saying, you're still within my window, but because you didn't do it quick enough, I'm going to not allow you to return this now. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I just wouldn't chance it. I don't think it's good business. So anyway, just thought you guys want to know about that. Yeah, and it's not even negative feedback, Midwest, because here's the problem. If I'm a buyer and I even remotely know anything about eBay, and you close my return after 5 business days, I can just leave feedback that the item wasn't as described, or it was this or it was that. eBay's not going to remove that. And you're going to get a negative feedback on something that you would have gotten a positive feedback on. I just don't know that it's worth the risk. I mean, if they return it after that time frame, then they return it. What's the big deal as long as it is the item? You were anticipating it was going to be a return, and it still stays a return. So I don't know. I just think from a good business practice, probably not a good idea to close out people's returns before the return window has closed. I would just let eBay do it automatically, and they will. So anyway, Zerk says, my wife waits too long to do returns, and I end up selling them new with tags on eBay. That's funny. So anyway, all right, let me get a little water here. Sorry, a little congested. What else is going on? So that's the challenge. That's the point about returns. And we're definitely I'm going to show you some results too. I guess we could probably do that now. Let me pull up my screen, and that's going to carry us right into the next topic. So let me see if I can get my handy dandy spreadsheet up here. Hang on one second, guys. All right, so we'll go to results, jeans, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's see how the old challenge is going. And boom. All right, guys, so here is the challenge. It's been a couple days since we talked, so there were my results on Tuesday, November 8th. Great day for the most part. 11 sold to 80, so not bad at all. We got 33 photos up and 24 listed. Yesterday was lower with only 7 sold and 172. So let me show you the month. Here's the month of November so far. We've sold 95. We've listed 158. We have 2244 gross with a net of about 926. So, you know, it's okay, but not a great month so far. And that's going to kind of lead me into the topic. So let me get back out of this and I will show you where we're at. Oh, we passed over the $20,000 gross mark in jeans. By the way, I just realized that. Since we started this challenge, we've grossed $20,095 in just jean sales since basically about the 3rd week of July. So not bad there. So let me get back over to this. So that kind of brings me to the topic of the show today that I want to talk to you guys about. I have seen a drop-off in my sales over the last couple weeks. I know some other people have talked about that too. And I wanted to talk about how you should react or if you should react. So let's talk about that. The first question I ask myself is, when I think that I'm having a slowdown in my business, is this really a slowdown? And let me explain what I mean by that. Last month was the best month I've had since I started this challenge and in a long time. So mathematically speaking, it was likely that I might see a dip this month. There was a decent probability of it. Just because I hit a good high last month, it's likely that I might see a dip this month, even though I'm putting up more listings. There's a mathematical term there that just talks about regression to the mean. And basically, long story short, without getting into all this boring math, it just means that over time, your results in any one period they're going to move back towards what your average is. Now, you're never going to know what your average sales really is over any meaningful period of time, because you just can't get enough data and all kinds of factors change. But if you can look down at your whole reselling career, 20 years in the future, 30 years in the future, whatever, and you could see what your averages were for that whole time frame, you would see your chart, do this. There's going to be peaks and there's going to be valleys, but in the long term, it's going to average out to some number of sales per month, per week, per year, however you want to define it. But you're not likely to keep seeing these outlier results. And what that means is you're not likely to keep seeing results that are way, way above what your average is or way, way below. If it's consistently doing that, there's some other reason than just the natural variation. But the point is that your results are going to vary. But over time, they're all going to kind of cluster back towards that mean score, that average, whatever it is for you. And you're not going to know exactly what it is. So when you have a great month up here, there's a decent chance that the next month is going to drop. And it may drop significantly. My sales are off about 18% from the first 10 days of October so far. My first 10 days of November are about 18% below what October was, even though I have more listings up, right? So you might think, well, oh, my sales are terrible. Well, it could be it's just kind of going back towards that average a bit. Maybe last month was abnormally high in the long run, and this month is kind of coming back to maybe more what my real numbers should be. Hard to say. So that's the first thing. The second thing I look at is that what's different for me? What am I doing different, if anything? What's changed in my business? Am I listing more or less? Am I listing different types of items? Am I listing different price points? Have I changed anything with my shipping terms or my payment terms or the type of listings I have? Obviously, the number of listings is a factor. I mean, these are all factors in your results. And you should look to say, well, has anything really changed? And only you're going to know that. Only you're going to know if, well, last month, let's just take listings, for example. Say last month you listed 100 items and your sales are great. And this month you listed 20 and they're poor. It could be your listings have something to do with that. We believe with good reason that eBay rewards frequent listing. And it certainly is going to reward more listings in the long run. I mean, more listings just mathematically is going to sell more than less listings, right? Even if it doesn't go up at the same rate, it's still going to do more. So you got to look at like what you did. And I don't think I'm really doing too much wrong, although I did have a period there where I didn't have listings. I wasn't doing many listings for a few days. And I think that did hurt my momentum. It certainly did. And I think it's hurt my sales. So that's one factor I point out. The third factor I would look at, guys, is has the market changed? And that one's a tricky one because you've really got to do a little research to figure that out. Like you've got to go into eBay and look at, all right, here's how many listings there are in my categories. And here's how many sold and completed there are. And what's that sell-through rate? Like how many are selling versus how many are just completing and not selling, for instance. Has that number changed significantly this month or this week or this year or whatever your time frame is? And it's kind of annoying to have to do that, guys, I'm going to tell you, because it's work. It's definitely some work to get that done. You've got to go in and put in some time and effort to looking at that and kind of keeping track of trends. I was telling Karin today, right now, if you buy, if you can find the Newsweek magazine that has a picture of Hillary Clinton on it, where it says Madam President. They printed up some beforehand some of those got released to the public by mistake. Some of those magazines, guys, have sold for $500 on eBay. I looked it up because I was a little skeptical, but I looked it up today and I'm like, man, sure enough, some of those sold for $500. But if you decided to start selling those magazines and looking for those, right now you're probably going to get a premium price for them. But what are the chances 6 months from now those magazines are going to go for as much? I don't think they will. I'd be very surprised because I have a feeling that the market for something like that is pretty small. There are people out there who collect things like that, like misprints, typos, mistakes. But once that market has been satiated and they've gotten all that they need, I don't think it's going to sustain itself. So if you were if your business model was just to sell Hillary Clinton, Madam President, Newsweek magazines, I think you would find that, over time, the demand for that item is going to drop off quite a bit. And that's pretty normal. So you got to look at your own business and decide, is what I'm selling experiencing, maybe there's a seasonal fluctuation. Clothing has that, right? I mean, certain things sell better in the summer versus in the winter and the fall and spring, and clothing has that. When new phones and gadgets come out, sometimes the older ones don't go for quite as much because there's a lot of hype around the new one. Sometimes they can go for more just based on desirability. I mean, there's all these things that can happen to the market that you don't really have any control over, but you're affected by them because people's buying tastes change. What they'll pay for something changes. Jeans, which we sell a lot of, don't see a huge fluctuation usually because the market's so big. It's hard for any one person or company to go in and manipulate it as much. Over time, you can see a drop off in a certain brand. Sometimes, if that brand used to be sold for $100 a pair, and now they decide to go the discount route and they're sold for $35 a pair, guess what's going to happen to the pre-owned price of those jeans? It's probably going to go down because people can buy them for new for a cheaper price. But you've always got to be looking at those factors, guys, when your sales are slow, instead of just deciding that all of a sudden, and this is what drives me nuts in reseller groups. I see people and they go, eBay's terrible. Cassini's off. There's a database issue. There's this. I'm like, none of those things are probably even true. But even if they are true, they're not in your control. You can't control Cassini. You can't control how the market is going to evolve in your particular niche or categories. But what you can control is how you react to it. You can control that. You can look back at your listings. You can change your sourcing strategy. You can change the way you price items. You can decide that this is just a temporary fluctuation and you don't, like, look at the Chewbacca mask that the woman, you know, she did the viral video back a few months back. Those things were super hot on eBay for a week, maybe two, and then they fell back to earth. Like, so, you know, if you loaded up on those and now you can't move them for that kind of price, well, you weren't really thinking straight about, is this going to be a long-term phenomena or a short-term? It's going to be short-term when a video goes viral usually and changes, you know, people's buying habits for a while. But I just think that you got to be careful, guys, when your sales slow down, that you just start, you know, pushing buttons in your business and deciding, I'm going to do this different, that different, that different, that. I mean, sometimes the reason for it is very temporary, or sometimes the reason for it is just not explained. You can't explain it. It just happens. But, you know, sometimes the best idea is to stay the course and not go off on tangents and change your business model completely around just because you see a little dip in your sales. I mean, there are times to change for sure. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that a lot of people jump the gun really, really quickly, and they're jumping from thing to thing, trying to see what'll work. And sometimes you just got to give things you got to have a little patience and let it play out over a period of time. And I'm not talking about a day or a week. I'm talking about months sometimes, or even a year. And I don't know. I just thought that I would share that today because, you know, I looked at my results over this month, and like I said, I'm down 18% versus this time in October. But October was a great month, a great month. So I just don't think I'm really doing anything that wrong. I don't think the market's really changed that much. I don't think that all of a sudden people aren't wearing jeans. I think it was just a combination of a little thing here, a little thing there, some natural variation. I was probably riding what in poker we used to call the plus side of variance, which just meant I was running better than I should have in October. I probably shouldn't have had as greater results as I did. And now I'm coming back to earth a little bit in November. That's going to happen in your business. So anyway, all right, guys. Well, that was a long speech there. So I should get paid by the word on this channel. I'm going to try to answer some questions. I'm sure there were some, and I'm sure I probably missed a bunch. Angela says she pushes buttons like a monkey on a typewriter. That's pretty funny. If Prof sales slow down, he works harder and harder. That is not true. So let's see what else we got here. I see people complain about sales and they have $4 bracelets that no one wants. Yeah, I mean, what you sell obviously matters, right?
Yeah, that's a great reminder by Stone. No USPS tomorrow. It's a federal holiday.
Oh, yeah, no. There's a holiday tomorrow. What holiday is it tomorrow? Veterans Day?
Veterans Day.
Veterans Day tomorrow. No USPS tomorrow, guys, just as an FYI. Let's see. Yeah, somebody asked about finding sell-through rate. You have to kind of calculate that on your own or do your own results there. You can't, eBay doesn't tell you that. How many hours a day do you dedicate to listing? Darren asked. I can't give you a hard, fast number on that, Darren, but it's probably about, what would you say, maybe 3?
About at least. I mean, we're all working, self-employed people work more than 8-hour days.
Maybe 3 for just listing, though.
Oh, I gotcha. But I mean,
maybe 2 or 3.
Our goals are more quantity, not time.
Yeah, Karen's like, our goals are more about quantity than time. So we try to do it to, all right, let's get to X number of listings, however long that takes.
Yeah,
And sometimes she's waiting on me to list jeans and dump photos, and she gets ahead of me. And sometimes I get ahead of her, and I have to wait for her to finish some photos. I mean, that's just the way it goes. But we try to keep it so that we're never really far ahead of each other. So that way we can always, keep putting up listings if we need to, which we pretty much always need to. Some of the comments are great. Let's see. RC cars. Huh. Yeah, I've heard about that being a decent market for eBay. I just don't know anything about them. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention. This is kind of a sea change for Prof Sales here. So you heard it here first. So tomorrow, when we are sourcing, we have decided that we are going to look through some other clothing items for sourcing. There you go. I know, I said it, right? It's not going to be just jeans tomorrow. And our reason for doing that, guys, there's a few reasons for it. But we think that with the cheap cost of clothing here in this area, I've been thinking a lot about what some people have said to me behind the scenes and so on. And with the cheap cost of clothing here in Charlotte, relatively, I think we are probably missing enough opportunities. Mm-hmm. And here's what happens, guys, in a store, just to give you an FYI. Normally, we will go in and Karin will start sourcing the jeans, and I will source the hard goods, kind of like Amazonish kind of stuff, and then I'll come help her finish up the jeans, and then we leave. But I'm going to always get done with the hard goods before she does the jeans, because it doesn't take me that long to go through them. And there's usually not nearly as much of them as there are jeans, for instance. So we always are having this time period where we're both working jeans together, but that's not even totally efficient either, because, we could just finish up the jeans, the other person could be finished in another section, and then just head to the checkout and, be standing in line while one person's finishing up. And that would be even more efficient from a time standpoint, right? If she's standing in line with all the jeans and I'm finishing up another section, then, we're maximizing our time in the store. And we think that because we have such a good, plentiful supply of clothing here, and we have talked about T-shirts and some other things, long sleeve shirts, we could hit those opportunities and not sacrifice our jean sourcing at all. Yep. It's not going to sacrifice it at all. Like, we're going to be able to source just as many. So I'm excited about this idea. I think it's going to work out really well. It's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for me, guys, because while I did source more other types of clothing when I first started back a couple years ago, I don't do it as much now, obviously. And so I'm going to have to learn a few things for sure. But we are going to go after, some other items in the store, some other clothing items primarily. We have a couple areas set up for shirts and so on, like hanging racks. No big deal. Won't be hard to add those in. We obviously have a photo set up that we can take pictures of them. I do have a few listings of shirts and so on still on eBay, but we're going to see how it goes. So we'll kind of give you a heads up on that tomorrow and see if we can find some great deals. I know this will make certain people happy. Hopefully it'll make us happy and make us some money. That's all I care about. But anyway.
Well, and the truth is, we've talked about we need to have to subsidize jeans when jean sales slow down. So,
right.
Oh, my hair's in my face. Sorry. So, we're branching out, and we've made no secret of that.
Yep.
But we can't just exist. One cannot exist on jeans alone.
That's a great point she just had, guys. Because here we are in November, right? It's still jean weather. It's still jean buying weather. But around about April, it's not going to be jean weather. People will start transitioning to other types of items. So we got to start thinking about other types of items as well. And it's kind of like now's the time. When I was in retail management, we would buy our clothing lines. Like, say we were buying spring, we would buy that like the end of winter the year before. It was that far in advance because you had long lead times to factories and so on. But you kind of had to do that to get our logistics in place. This is no different, just on a smaller scale. You kind of need to be thinking about, if you're selling clothing, which can be seasonal in a lot of cases, you need to think about, well, what am I going to be selling 6 months from now? Can I stock up on that now? Are there opportunities, even if I don't get it all listed right now, to have it ready to go so that when the season is there, you're prepared with your store? So we're going to be looking for that tomorrow. I'll kind of give you guys a heads up. Probably won't do a show tomorrow because I don't think we're going to have time. Just with the schedule, it's just going to be a full day. But over the weekend, we'll definitely do an update, and I'll let you guys know how that went. Someone asked if we're going to be using that mannequin. What do you think, Cara?
Which mannequin?
I don't know. I just said that mannequin. King asked.
Well, we have those halves. So, yeah, probably.
Yeah, we have the half mannequins. We don't have one out here right now, but like the hanging form. And, yeah, we might for shirts. Sure. Not sure. But yeah, but jeans are so tasty. We're not getting out of jeans, so we're just adding something to it. Let's see.
Stone thinks you should smash it.
Susanna says, I'm buying shorts and even selling some. That's interesting, Susanna. You're selling shorts now, right? You wouldn't think of this being shorts weather, this time of year being shorts, right? But definitely shorts and so on. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you guys buy jeans with drag wear on the bottom of the legs? If so, what is your wear and tear limit? That's a good question, Raymond. I would say this. If it's a brand like, say it's like skater jeans that people with skateboard like, they're not going to care as much about that. And some urban brands, they won't care as much about that either because they wear them low and they will tend to drag, and that's not a big deal necessarily. But normally, if that wear is a lot even on the bottom, no. Because the cuff is going to be an area that's really going to get ripped up real easy because of just where it is in proximity to the ground. So if it's like a type of jean that's not typically worn that low, like sitting lower on the waist, because there are people who wear their jeans and they drag, and that's just their style, and they won't care as much about that. But a lot of jeans people aren't going to like that. So we tend to stay away from ones that have excessive wear, really anywhere, cuffs or otherwise. Karen, any apple bottoms yet? LOL.
No, not in this pile. I wrote them back.
Not in this pile. Okay. Oh, she sent on this batch. Okay, gotcha.
But we will tomorrow, I'm sure.
Crafty says, I sold a bunch of summer clothing. Description words, vacation, holidays, cruise. That's interesting, Crafty, but you wonder how they found you. Like, I would want to go in your search terms in eBay and for those items. And, I don't know if you can see the actual search term, but I'm just curious if people are really searching for vacation. I mean, I don't know what they would look for there. Vacation wear, maybe. Maybe they do. I don't know. So I bought a bunch of shorts and was holding off listing them. Guess I should. Why not? If you've got the listings to spare, why not? Just list them.
We did the same thing with capris and crops.
Yeah, we're still listing capris and crop jeans, so why not?
There's a good portion of the country that still wears them through the winter. There's no snow.
Someone wants to see you model apple bottoms.
I was trying to just gloss right over that comment. But, someday, who knows?
Who knows? But Karen is, she's not going to be doing any modeling anytime soon. And boots with the fur, right?
Boots with the fur.
Hey, did you sell any t-shirts yet? We really haven't found any, Darren. But we haven't been looking. Guys, this is the honest truth. When we did that big buy a couple weeks back, we haven't bought since then. I mean, we just haven't. We've been plowing through those and a few other things. We haven't bought. This will be the first time we've bought in probably 2.5 weeks?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be our first sourcing run in literally about 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks. So we didn't buy any shirts with that one. I did look through them. And I looked through them enough to realize I don't really know what I'm looking for yet. So I gotta get a little more knowledge on those. But I'm absolutely open to the idea of looking or buying t-shirts and selling them. I think it's cool. I'm actually going to start wearing more t-shirts. I just think it's a good look for me. Like I don't like wearing long sleeve that much. So even in the winter, I wear short sleeve. Like today, I'm wearing my Wahlburger shirt. So anyway, you can sell shorts to Louisiana peeps. Yeah, exactly right. Athletic wear as well. Yeah, athletic wear I knew was great, Susanna, but I just haven't really, it hasn't been on my radar as much lately. So I need to do that. And a Leonard Skinner tour shirt. I just want to sing Freebird a lot. Nice. Could play some drums to that. Good song. What do you predict you will spend tomorrow?
$500.
We're only going to hit probably 5 stores just because of our schedule and where they are. And we have one other errand we have to run in the morning that's in that area. And we're actually starting a decent ways away from where we live. So it's not going to be ideal. And we have to be back here in the late afternoon. Man, can we have any more crap packed into tomorrow?
Nope.
I think we're going to hit maybe 5 stores, but we haven't been to these in a while. So I think they should be good. If we could get 100 tomorrow, I'd be pretty happy. I'd be happy if we hit 5 stores and get 100 pair of jeans and maybe some other items too. I'd be happy with that day. So that would be about $540 or so, somewhere in that neighborhood. If that helps. What about jerseys? I have flipped a few jerseys, Brian, but I just don't see many of them while I'm out. I'm probably not looking hard enough or in the right places.
We get them when we see them.
Sure. We do get those when we get them. Like athletic jerseys can be great, really good, as long as they're authentic. The non-authentic ones don't go for as much, and you got to be careful. You don't want to sell something that's counterfeit. But anyway, wow, I'm late. Yeah, you're a little late. You're pretty much at the end. Try jean shorts. Can't do it, big tech. Can't get them cheap enough, and we pretty much don't find. We've looked at those before, jean shorts, guys, but we just don't see them in the right price and quantity for the ones that we need that will actually sell. But we haven't looked in a while, so maybe that could be back on the radar. Darren says 540 is good. Any idea what you'll make on the flip? Yeah, I mean, well, we should net somewhere around about 500 on that.
The variable is the hard goods. We don't know.
Yeah, if we do hard goods, or we start getting into shirts and other things like that, that's where we just don't know. But our net after cost of goods and selling expenses should be around 500. Because we're averaging, that's just the jeans part, because we're averaging about a little under $10 a pair. We're netting about $970, so somewhere around there. Just sold first pair of jeans today. Nice, Harper, congratulations. Jean skirts, yep, when we see them, but we just don't see them that often. Well, I'm telling you what the net is, Darren. I don't know what the cost of goods. Our gross on that would be about a 4.1x, 4.2x maybe times our money spent. So there you go. But our net's going to be more like a 1.8x on it, somewhere around there. When you measure pants waistband, do you align the front and back waistband to get a more accurate measurement, or just how they lie is good enough? I would let them just lay how they want to lay normally, Daniel. And here's why, because depending on how the rise is cut, sometimes the button is going to be up, almost in line. If I had a pair right here in front of you.
What do you want?
A pair of jeans.
Yeah.
Oh. Sometimes you're going to see like this is a pair of Levi's, right? Yeah, Levi's 529 curvy boot cut. So sometimes you'll see they'll lay just like this and see how the rise kind of goes down a little further. But other times, depending on the jean, depending on the rise is cut, you're going to see like it's going to look more like that. So when you lay it down, you just want to let it lay how it wants to lay, because you're measuring right across here, the back, and then doubling that. And that's roughly the waist size. like in this jean, they're an 8 medium. So that's probably about a 28 to 30 inch waist, which would be somewhere around 15 inches across. But you want it to just lay normal, and you don't want to like artificially pull on it or any. You just want it to lay like it lays. I would lay it on the floor actually and measure, or a table, and just measure across the back and double that. That's technically what the waist will be. But man, you're going to see variation in that. And sometimes the tag is wrong. I mean, there's so many variables there, but that's actually how you're supposed to measure it. Here you go. I'm sorry. Hopefully that made sense, my impromptu demonstration there. Let's see. All right. Do you love selling jeans, Prof, or is it more a calculated decision?
That's a great point.
It's some of both, King. I mean, I love, for all the reasons I told Chad on the other night, I love jeans because of they're cheap to acquire, they're plentiful, they're scalable, they're easy to photograph and list. I love them for all those reasons. And there's always so many different ones out there to find. It's like you find, you know, kind of like these little bread and butter ones, but then all of a sudden you'll find like a really cool one and you'll get excited. You're like, yes. And then, you know, you'll go back to finding just sort of average ones and you'll find, I mean, just like with any other item. And I like that. I like that a lot. And I love being in business. So it made sense to, jeans was a reasonable way to go. Do darker sell faster than lighter? That's a great question. I don't know. Not necessarily.
We have more darker than lighter.
Yeah, I think darker sells a little slower, but it's kind of hard to say because we hang on to them. I mean, it kind of depends on what you mean by darker too. I mean, like the real dark ones, it depends. Gosh, man, it just depends. I can't really answer that question definitively and say darker sells faster than lighter because of all those. Jeans change size with washing and drying. Yep, absolutely. Don't forget to look for hems. Yeah, Outdoor Wrangler, we have missed so many hems. Well, Karin actually doesn't really miss them, but I miss them often if I'm not careful. And a lot of the ways you can tell that you miss them, a lot of things you can do, guys, look in that back waistband.
Yep.
And if the words aren't all together, like you're missing letters, there's been hemmed. If instead of Wrangler, it says Wrangler with no A, it's been hemmed. So it's been taken in the waist, so to speak. But anyway, yeah, broken zippers. Yep, that happens occasionally, not too often, but occasionally.
We don't buy them. That's one of the things we check in the store.
Yeah, we don't usually buy the zippers, guys, the broken zipper ones, because, you know, I mean, somebody might buy them, but man, they can't zip them up. It's kind of iffy. Yeah, and a lot of you guys are saying, you know, take measurements. You absolutely should. So, do you guys need to go?
Yeah,
okay.
That's fine. We'll
yeah, just go right ahead. So I'm almost done here anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, and one thing I'm experimenting with, guys, just so you know, Karin and I talked about this today. I'm experimenting with not putting the inseam the number in my item specifics. And the reason why is because I'm getting some returns from people that say, well, it should have been this inseam and it was really that one. And in some cases, they've been right, because here's why. Every jean manufacturer, not every, but jean manufacturers measure their inseam. Go right ahead. You're fine. They measure it one of two different ways. And unless you know that brand really, really well, and sometimes within even their own lines, they'll measure them differently. And if you put, like, let me give you an example, guys. This happened to me. So typically, I'm going to show you on this pair of 7 for All Mankind's. So typically, let me turn it this way so you can see it better. So typically, you're going to measure with a measuring tape from the cuffs all the way down, all the way up to, we actually lay it all the way up to here, like all the way, like it just keeps going. And a lot of times for the inseam, you're going to measure to right here. This is the crotch seam, Okay, it's where the seams of the crotch come together. And whatever the measurement is right here is the inseam. That's the length of the jean. But take Levi's, for example. Most Levi's measure that to the zipper seam, which is right here, which is about, on this pair of jeans, I'd say a little over an inch or two further. So I got a return, or a request to return, and the lady said, yeah, the listing said that they were listed as a 30-inch inseam, and really they're a 20, I think they're more like a 28, and I needed a 30. Well, I looked back at the listing, and sure enough, I had in here the 30 measurement to here, and 28 was right here. And that particular brand, I don't remember the brand right now, it was here. They normally measure their inseam to here. So she was technically right. But I realized, I'm like, man, I don't know where the inseam measurement is for every single brand necessarily. So why not just do this? Lay the measurement here, the tape, take a photograph of it. If you know it's a short, you can put short in the item specifics. If it's a long, you can put long. And if it's anything else, you can just put medium. Those are the three that typically pop up on the mobile app as inseam choices. And then if someone asks, you can refer them to the picture. And you can say, well, this is the inseam shot, and you can look for yourself and see where that tape measure goes. And they may know that it's to the crotch seam or the zipper seam. Okay? So it's just basically giving you a way to give the buyer the information, and if they contact you, you can refer them to the photograph without sending them a pair of jeans with the wrong measurement in the item specifics. Because she was right, you know, but in my defense, I probably just looked at it here and had in my mind it was here when it was really here. Inseams are kind of a pain in the butt. Because manufacturers do look at them differently, and it just depends. So that's what I'm going to do. I think going forward, I'm just going to put like a description of it. It's still going to have the photographs. So somebody asks, I can refer to that and answer their question and tell them that. But by the way, sometimes the measurement that's listed on the tag is not right because it was tagged incorrectly. You know, remember, you're buying this jean at sometimes a thrift store. It could have been tagged incorrectly. Sometimes the tag is way off, you know, in waist and inseam. But anyway, I'm going to experiment with that, see how it goes. I don't think I can get in too much trouble for just saying, hey, it's short, medium, or long. If I know, for instance, it's a short or a regular or a long size, and then they can look at the photograph and make their own decision about exactly what it is. Maybe that's a cop-out, but I don't know. Susanna says she measured on the inside. I've never had a return. I get that, Susanna, but the problem is knowing, again, I'm going to refer you to this. Is this the inseam or is this the inseam measurement? Guess what? It depends on the brand. And sometimes it depends within the brand. There are some Levi's, they measure it here. And then a lot of Levi's measure it here to the zipper seam. You know, how are you going to carry around all that? I mean, you know, I could be that specific, but it's just as easy to show someone a photograph that I'm going to take anyway. And I get your point, Suzanne, to the crotch, but that's not the case with Levi's. It really isn't. So there's lots of Levi's that measure that inseam to the zipper. They measure it to the bottom of the zipper stitch, which is right here. It's not right here. It's right here. So I don't know. And you can see that because you can see it on their website that that's how they measure it. You know, so I don't know. But anyway, I just want to share that with you guys. Measurements are tricky. When in doubt, take a photograph of it. Refer the person to the photograph. That way, you can never say, you know, it's this or that. Someone says, can you add a template that details how you measure? Daniel, nobody reads that stuff anymore. And on mobile devices, it's hard to even get it to show up. It's just a waste of time. It's just a waste of time. I mean, you're not there to get them to read a book. You're there to get them to buy a product from you. And lots of people, you'd be surprised how many people still ask me for the waist and inseam measurements, even though they're in the item specifics, even though I have photographs of them. They still ask because they look at one photo, I guess, and they look at the title and the price, and then that's it. Then they start asking questions, either because they're too lazy to look it up, or they looked it up and couldn't figure it out, or I don't know what the reason is. Stone, that's pretty funny. Quimby says, yeah, this is making a lot of sense about inseam shipping. I thought the tags were wrong, but it must be the zip. Yeah, I mean, man, I wish I could give you a hard and fast rule, Quimby, but somebody was talking about earlier using approximate. I could do that too, but then I've got to actually type that in the listing, in the description, whereas with the long, medium, short, I can just put it to one of those and let the person decide. You can tell longs, guys, because longs are traditionally going to be 34 inches up. You know what I do too? Here's a little pro tip. All right, so these are 7 for all mankind, and they're A pockets, right? And they're a size 26, so these are women's. But I know I wear a 32 for the most part. So I will actually hold them up to where I wear them, men's or women's, it doesn't matter, and see where they fall on me. If they're really super long, they're a 34, or sometimes even a 36. If they're shorter and they look like high waters, they're a 30. There's your pro tip for the day. I don't know how great of a tip that was, and these, by the way, were like 32. So they were basically the same length as where did these even come from? Oh, I see where they came from. They're the same length as the jeans I'm wearing, which are Luckies that are 32s, by the way. So anyway, photo with the measurements. Yep. Pictures always. I'm going to put inseam from crotch seam to hem. Yeah, I mean, you know, to the why not just create your own drafts? You sell the same type of item. I'm telling you, King. All right, King, I'm gonna say you reserve judgment on my listing process till you see it next week. I'm telling you, man, it goes pretty fast the way I do it. And I mean, I'm sure I could do it a little faster, but the problem is it is so convenient to list from mobile. How would you suggest I list drafts from the mobile app? You can't. There's not a way to do it. So I have found that the way we share pictures back and forth and using the mobile app is the quickest way for me. I'm not saying anything against drafts. If you want to drop your pictures to your laptop, your PC, and your Mac, whatever, great. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying for us, the way we move pictures back around and that we list with the mobile app, I think it works the best. So I don't know. But see what you think next week when you see me doing it and make a decision. You know, I mean, you're going to see like time and, you know, judge me on my first hour or two, not my last. I'll probably be tired and going really slow, but who knows? We'll see. All right, guys. Well, listen, I think that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys for coming out. I love that you guys have a great community. Please leave me a comment down below. I've been still trying to answer everybody's, and man, it's getting tough. There's thousands of comments on this page now, or on this channel. But I do like hearing from you guys. I do read them all. I promise you, even if I don't respond and say much back, I do read them. And I do appreciate them too. And any feedback you have, please don't hesitate to leave it. I'm always open to it. Smash that like button before you leave as well. Lets me know I'm doing a good job. And if you're watching this later, hit it too if you like this content. And if you don't like this content, then you can hit the dislike. But man, tell me why you didn't like it or what you want me to do different. I'm open to it. I'm a reasonable guy. All right. So anyway, I think that's going to do it for today. And I'll touch base with you guys this weekend after I get sourcing done tomorrow. And I'll give you more updates on what next week's challenge is going to look like and so on. All right. All right. Well, listen, I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. If I don't talk to you or see you then, get those sales going. Don't accept failure. do it better today than you did yesterday and even better tomorrow, and just keep working your business and don't let it work you. All right, guys. Well, take care, and that's going to do it for now. And this is Prof Sales saying good sales to you.